Welcome back. Today we're going to now paint this Instagram mech robot. We found this inspiration online. We have finished modeling it in VR and now we're going to paint it. So join me today as we go about that process. We'll export it out of Cinema 4D and we'll be painting it inside of Adobe Substance 3D Painter today. This one I'm just going to stream here on Instagram, not streaming on YouTube, just here on Instagram, and it's going to be really cool. We finished all the hard stuff, which was modeling and UV unwrapping and object optimization. All of that stuff is done. We are now on to the fun stuff, which is painting. So yeah, let's get started. Let me just type in a little description here. I'll say 3D painting. Here we go. 3D painting. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's go. Step one is we got to export it out of here. So I'm going to go to File, Export, and then export this out as an OBJ file format. And we'll hit OK. And I'm just going to call this one Ready to Paint. Paint. There we go. And save it. And then we're going to open this up with a different program called Adobe Substance 3D Painter. Feel free to screenshot that if it's a useful resource for you. I'm going to continue anyway. Don't know why it thinks my GPU is outdated. It is definitely up to date. All right, so here we are. This program is a fantastic tool for 3D painting and surfacing your models. So I'm going to start off by going to File, Recent, New. And I'm going to bring up the preset for USDZ, if I can find it in here. I don't see my USDZ template. Okay, I'll just do PBR Metal Roughness Alpha Blend, and then we'll do 2048 texture sizes, and let's bring in our little character. Where is it? Oh, there it is. And then ready to paint. Boom. And we'll go ahead and import that. All right, so here is our 3D model. We made this today and in Gravity Sketch, and then we finished up the modeling process in Cinema 4D. And that's also where we made these UVs. So we have the lenses, we have the metal, all the little metal components on the inside of the robot, and then we have all of the skin. So between all three of those, we have the whole robot ready to be painted. First step is to go to Edit, Bake Mesh Maps, and I'm going to bake a 2K resolution map into every surface. This will get us some really good data like position, thickness, world normals, ambient occlusion, and curvature maps. A lot of cool data. Only data that seems to kind of break a little bit is the ambient occlusion. I've been having some troubles with it, with how I've been modeling stuff. So I'm going to go to the skin layer and just delete the ambient occlusion field because it didn't do what I wanted to do. Cool. All right, so here is our reference. This is what we're gonna try to get this thing looking like. So let's start off with the biggest, boldest colors. We got that Instagram gradient. So I'm just gonna pull up the Instagram official color palette or Instagram brand guidelines. They have most big brands have a website called their brand guidelines. It's a great pro tip is to find their Instagram brand or find any brand's brand guidelines and then design with them as long as you're not planning on selling it. And you can use this as a great resource to get like something to look like it's on brand. So for example, I just want to get their color palette, but I'll just probably just pull from the logo will probably be just as fine. So I'm gonna pull the logo into there. Okay, cool. So let's get right to it. So first thing is I would say we want to start off with that purple color. So we have our brand guidelines. I'm gonna go to the skin layer and make a new fill object. We're gonna fill the whole thing with a color. I'm gonna choose like a plastic. Okay, and then we're gonna throw this plastic onto here. Already it's gonna make it look really cool because it's like a shiny plastic I really like using. And then what we're gonna do is change that color to that base color of that purple from the Instagram brand guidelines. So that's the first color on the very back. Okay, and then we're going to copy this. And then with this one, we're gonna fill it with a color from the guidelines as well. It's like a purplish magenta color. Great. And we'll come up with a clever way to reveal each of these layers in a second. I'm gonna copy this one again. And then we're gonna fill this with the last color from the brand guidelines. Or I guess there's two more colors. There's an orange in there. And then after the orange comes the yellow where it wraps up. So I'm just gonna grab that yellow color. So between all of these pretty colors is the Instagram brand guidelines. And so what I'm gonna do is reveal each one of these with a procedural mask. So I'm gonna go to my layer here and with the pink and add a black mask onto it. And then on the black mask, I'm going to add a generator known as the gradient generator. And it does exactly what you would think. It creates a 3D linear gradient. And we can use that gradient. Oh, weird, I'm seeing some weird stretching of polygons. You see this? We actually might need to go back into our 3D program and fix this because these are hard to work around because these are gonna keep interrupting. Unless we completely disregard the UV coordinates when we're painting the body of this character. So we could do that. Let me see if we set this to triplanar projection. Oh, it's still a problem though. Oh wow, yeah, so it looks like there isn't really a way around that. All right, we need to go back into Cinema 4D, unfortunately, and fix that UV coordinate. Otherwise, it's gonna cause us a lot of headaches. So I'm gonna go to the skin layer and then go to our UV editor. And what's weird is it looks fine in here. I don't see any weird overlapping polygons, but sometimes what you need to do is right-click on your model and click on Optimize, and this removes geometry that's really tiny that you can't see. And then I do the same thing over here. I might just go to unmap this and maybe switch off identical overlaps. Okay, so I just redid the mapping there. Let's see if that was enough to fix the problem. So I'm gonna go to File, Export this object. We'll call this one V2. And then we'll open this up in Substance Painter. Hopefully we don't have the same problem that we just had a moment ago where it broke the textures. So I'm just gonna drag version 2 into Adobe Substance 3D Painter. Okay, looks like it's a bit better. I might need to rebake the maps though. So I'm gonna go to Bake Mesh Maps and just bake everything. Okay, this looks perfect. All right, so we rebaked, and now we have a better UV coordinate system, one that is respecting the UV tiles. And now we can go in with our 3D linear paint and start playing with that balance. So the Instagram branding kind of has that dark, if you look at their logo, it kind of starts off with like a dark purplish thing, whatever, in the corner. So I'm gonna kind of emulate that style on the top. And then I'm gonna rotate it a bit. There we go, and then maybe just trim it at the top a little bit. There we go, so that kind of just makes like a little gradient go from that color on the top of their logo, which is almost like a blue. If you look at that, it's like a blue texture in there. And then we're moving it into the pink. We haven't done the yellow yet. So let's add the orange layer. And with the orange layer, same idea, we're gonna add a black mask. Then we're going to add a generator, and we'll add a gradient. 3D linear gradient. And with the linear gradient, we're going to first bump up that contrast and then play around with the position of that gradient. So I might rotate it over here, maybe reduce that balance, maybe rotate it over to another side, maybe the front more. If you are struggling to find a good spot in their coordinate system, what I like to do is oftentimes just, I might just paint it in manually, because it's kind of hard to get this right. So it looks like almost like a stripe is going across the corner there. So I'm going to remove this for a second. So I'm just gonna go to it and clear the mask. Then we'll add a black mask. And let's see, maybe a different generator will help us out here. Is there any linears or no? Or oh, maybe position might help. Global balance, global position, positional gradient. How do I rotate it? Oh, there we go, from left to right, top to bottom. And then I want to flip it somehow. So we'll do a global invert. Cool, so now it's a little bit on the warmer bottom side of the model. It has those orange glowing bits to it. I might move it from right to left a little bit more. Sometimes it helps to crank up the contrast slider while you're working, just so you can see where the hard line is. Otherwise, you're kind of guessing. So I just, yeah, I just did that just to see it a little bit better. And then we can rotate it front to back or invert it. I kind of want it on the bottom left corner. I'm having some troubles getting it there. Maybe if I flip this to false and then flip this. No? Almost. Yeah, I wish I could just drag it to the spot I want it to be on. Hello. Right now we're in the painting process of the Instagram mech. We're making a 3D robot based off of this reference image I found online on Instagram, and it will be made for AR, and it will be really fun and cool. But we are still in that process now of painting it. We finished modeling it mostly in VR, which was very fun, and then now I'm just trying to get the color gradients across, but I'm having troubles getting the orange to stick to the left corner. I mean, I might be down to move it to the bottom right corner like this. Although I keep seeing this weird problem. Do you see how there's every once in a while there's these polygons like this one that are just getting this, like, I don't know what point this is referring to, but that's not the right point. Let me go back to the model in Cinema 4D, take a look at what happened to our, yeah, I don't see any problems here yet. The UV tile had a random texture in there. Maybe it's the ambient occlusion layer again. It's causing us troubles last week. Let me just delete it. Okay, yeah, it was the ambient occlusion. All right, it's fixed. I'm gonna miss the ambient occlusion though, because the ambient occlusion makes like areas that are close to shadow look really good. Without it, you know, you lose all those shadows. You'll have to form them in a different way. But anywho, still working on this this gold part. I'm just trying to reduce its, you know, visibility a bit. I guess we'll just go across the robot, you know, in our own fashion. Okay, and now we're gonna grab that yellow color, and with the yellow color, same idea. We're gonna add a black mask, and then we'll add a generator gradient. We'll use the 3D world space position. Yeah, we'll use the 3D world space. Actually, I'll use a light to paint it, and then we'll rotate the light so it's underneath the model, and then underneath and to the side. There we go. So it kind of just gets this little bit of yellow underglow. Actually, we should probably use that somewhere else. Take it back. Yeah, don't use that as a light. I'll save that for a later process. But for now, we'll just clear that, remove that effect, and instead add a generator like position again, and then we'll take the position, you know, increase that global contrast so we can see where the position is, and then flip it. And then if we can, we want to rotate it like the other ones. There we go. And then we'll smooth it out. Cool, so now we got the Instagram colors as our base nicely in there. Great. All right, let's just keep saving our work as we go. So I'm just gonna save this with our asset. Okay. Cool. So those are looking good. Let's add some like some mess to it. I'm gonna add a bit of edges to show off the edges a bit more. What we'll do is we'll use a metal base in there. So I'm gonna go to my filters and turn off any filtering, and we'll look for some metal. And I'm gonna throw on some nice iron shiny onto our object so we get this nice iron finish. And then with the iron finish, I'm gonna go to the color parameter and just turn off the color. And so now we have a shiny metal paint on there. But I don't want it to be so shiny, so we're gonna reduce it a bit, a little bit. It's gonna make my reference image smaller too. Okay. So now what we'll do is take that metal and make it a little bit rougher. Because if it's too shiny, that will be like a lens. And I want it to be kind of matted, but enough where it looks like a polished metal is in there, which it does now. We get that nice polished metal look. We can also change our projection type to triplanar, which will work really well for a cube-like shape, and that gets us this nice metal finish onto all of our edges of our paint. I still think it's a little too shiny though, so I'm gonna roughen up the metal even more. And that looks good. Now I'm gonna grab this one called Machinery and throw this onto it. And we're gonna take off the plastic yellow in there. Metal base, I'm gonna turn that off. And then this creates some nice dirt and grunge onto our model's skin. Now, I think it's a little too much everywhere like this, so I'm going to, first off, change the rust color so that it's something that we like. Like, I'm gonna play with the saturation of it a little bit, make it a little bit more desaturated, and then reduce that height, maybe have it puncture into the model a bit. Ambient occlusion, we'll maybe leave that alone. For the rust, we're gonna go to our mask editor, and I'm gonna reduce the global balance so you can actually procedurally add rust to your models the way they would actually rust if they were made of some kind of oxidizing metal. Hey, what's up, Ray? Yeah, today I found this image on Instagram of a robot, of an Instagram robot mech, and so I decided to 3D model it, and then now in VR, and now we're in the painting process. I'm painting this asset to kind of bring it to life. And so yeah, right now I'm playing with the mask, adding some rust to it, and I want to maybe have it rust a little bit more on the edges and less on the other surfaces like the ambient occlusion and the texture space. There we go. So just by creating a little bit of separation there, we kind of just add a little bit of grunge to the Instagram mech robot here. We can also boost up the strength of some parameters. If we go to our rust in our mask editor, we have a world scale. So this is if we were like in a really dirty location. This is looking a little too grunged. So I'm going to reduce that world space effect and maybe even change the rust color to get a little bit of color in it and maybe a little bit of luminosity. And we can kind of like isolate our mask, maybe like a gray, darker contrast, less saturated, slightly different hue shift. Yeah, that looks like some pretty good grunge. It's a little too much, to be honest, so I am gonna reduce it a lot. But I just wanted to start playing with the textures here. So we have this dirt mask, and we can set this to invert. So now all the, oh, actually that looks way too dark. Let me flip it and turn off the dirt. So we have this grunge mask, which now I'm thinking we should really, really reduce, 'cause it's looking like it's too much. Oh, thank you so much, Ray Wong. So maybe he can shoot a beam out of that cam. Oh, I like where your head's at. Yeah, I mean, anything is possible once you make it a rigged and 3D character. I guess my main goal is just to have it kind of move and just kind of look like it's studying you. So I was gonna have it like the camera lens maybe moving around a little bit, zooming in and out and stuff. I like that idea too. So I just added a tiny bit of grunge that gives us some little dents on the sides. And it's like a black schmut, but I might want to change that color, make it a little bit more like a silvery or a gray material there. Cool, let's make that white thing now, the lens. So I'm going to use a steel bright for the outer part of that lens. That gives us a nice little color breaking. And then for the actual lens itself, I'm going to use a different material. So in here we can add a black mask, and I can just paint in the areas that I want to have that silver look. And if we set our parameter to UV only, this helps kind of isolate your paint so that you don't accidentally paint the wrong areas. So I'm gonna go ahead and just paint in the lens on the side to get that nice metal grungy texture around the sides. And we also don't want to forget about underneath the lens. All right, looks like we kind of got some of the lens a little bit dirty there. We're going to use the eraser to then erase some of those little blemishes. All right, and then to make it look like glass, they actually have a pretty nice set of glass shaders right inside of Substance Painter now, so you can just apply a glass shader on there, and then I'm going to add a black mask to make sure that we're only really painting the glass where it needs to be. So I'm going to group this. And then add a black mask. And then now we can just paint in the glass here. There we go. So we get this nice little lens, nice clean lens in there. Yes, this is an Instagram droid. It will really look like Instagram once we put the white soft square around it, then like in their logo, this thing. Yeah, that will give it that total Instagram vibe. I haven't put that yet, but that is coming. Put it there for a teaser. I just came back from watching Shang-Chi for the second time earlier, and I'm running in the residual hype, LOL, action, story. The VFX is really great. Oh man, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, that will be I always like watching action movies. They have a lot of inspiring ways of telling stories these days, with a lot of art and many hours of labor. I'm just painting in the silver here, the silver grunge texture on the lens. This is the same technique that they use in VFX movies to make assets. We paint them like this. Okay, cool. I like where that's going. I might make the white base maybe more white. So I might maybe reduce the metallic nature of the lens fixture, so it's more like a plastic. Getting this weird dark color on the top here that I'm not sure. I think that might be coming off of the glass. So let me try to erase that. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So now we're getting a nice lens in there, and I want to make sure I didn't get too much of the black paint on the edge of the camera here. So it's like a mirror-like reflection. All right, cool. Let's get that white logo going on this thing. So for that, we're gonna go back to the metal skin layer, and I'm going to find a plastic. I'm gonna apply this plastic dirty to our whole model, and then I'm going to add a black mask, and the black mask will be used to reveal that white paint. So I'm gonna go with a kind of a large edge brush here on the corners, and holding shift, kind of just go across the model, painting in our Instagram white square that everyone's so familiar with these days. Now I want to make it a little bit more grungy and maybe a little bit more rounded, so I'm gonna redo it. It looks like the width of it is a little bit thicker than, actually, can I get to a flat orthographic view? There we go. And then we'll switch our camera to orthographic so that it's a perfectly flat projection. What you see is what you get kind of deal. And I'll just create the white lines. Should be like a square. We got a little bit of an edge break at the bottom there. Okay, so that kind of gives us that white line. I might want to round it off even more. Let's see if there's even a shape that's similar to that within my alpha channels. If not, you can always bring in a logo and trace over it, or you could be really lazy and just stamp it. But I wanted to paint it mostly so that it kind of feels a little hand-drawn like the reference. So I'm gonna go with the thicker, chunkier lines. And then to make it look more hand-drawn, what we'll do is throw a couple of filters on here. So I'm gonna apply a filter known as the, it's a type of blur, I thought. I'm trying to remember the name. Oh, it's called a blur slope. And you can change the intensity of a blur slope. So I'm just gonna crank it up, maybe reduce the blur percentage down to a larger interval, maybe larger, more granular. There we go. So that kind of just does a little bit of edge breaking, and then I'm going to apply a mask on top of this, and the mask will be a smart mask. So I'm gonna add a fill, and then the type of mask I'm gonna use is some kind of like painted surface, grunge texture. So I'm gonna use this as a fill object, and this will allow us to like have the sign almost wear off of it. We can also move this grunge texture around to create the exact kind of shade that we want. I'm gonna switch our camera back to a non-orthographic camera. Maybe I'll switch it out with a different grunge. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's like a metal wash. That's kind of cool. I'll move it around, see if we find a good spot, a good home for that texture around the white. Maybe fill in the white a little bit more. That looks pretty cool. Okay, there we go. So we kind of got this like white texture going there. How did you build that? Oh, I actually put a whole YouTube video out today. I did it, actually I'm not sure if it's got published yet, but I made the model in VR and then cleaned up the model inside of inside of Cinema 4D, and then now we're painting the model here inside of wherever we are. Where are we at right now? We're in Substance Painter, Adobe Substance Painter. All right, so I'm gonna grab this cobalt metal and apply it to the insides of the model. And already the cobalt looks like it really belongs in the inside parts. It looks very similar to the metal that I saw in there. I might wanna add more lines and stuff on the metal to make it feel more natural or something. So what I do is I use a bright red color or something bright that's not in the model. So I'm gonna use green for a short moment. And with the bright green, what I'm gonna do is add a black mask and then apply a set of lines to it. So we can go to lines, or I think it's called stripes. S-T-R-I-P, stripes. There we are, stripes. So I'm gonna apply this stripes. Add a black mask, and then we're adding a fill, and then we're gonna fill the fill with stripes. And it looks strange at first. It's gonna look like what are you doing? And then what we do is we change the projection technique of the stripes to be a triplanar. Oh, it's not an option. Let me try that again. Triplanar. Okay, and now whatever we do to the stripes is going to change quite dramatically the end result. So I'm going to scale down our stripes here. So they're really tiny like this. So now you can see there's like fretted. And then instead of using green, hello, third variant of Don Allen, how goes it? It goes well. Thanks for the kind words. I'm the third variant. All right, I'm gonna boost the height there. So now all of the wires have this bumpiness to it. I'm not gonna use it on the actual edge there, but I just wanted like the inside wires like this to all feel like little coils. And so by adding them as a height map on our histogram allows a pattern that looks like wires that are like, I don't know, pretty. So we can increase the number of stripes if we want the wires to look more thick. And even just changing the rotation of them, it can give us a lot more variations of the wires and the pipes inside the body, just by rotating our shader in there. So I just rotated it 90 degrees, and you can see we get all these like zigzag patterns now and there, and I love that. I'm then going to add a group mask on all of this, and with a white mask, we can erase some of the texture on parts of it. So I'm using a stripes pattern to erase it. Creates almost like a carbon fiber look to use the stripes on stripes. And I'm just doing this to add some variety. Okay, great. I think the inside metal looks a little too shiny though, so I'm going to reduce its shine factor by going into the cobalt metal itself and then changing the roughness. So reducing roughness makes it really shiny like glass, like you see there. But if we increase the roughness, it scatters the light as it hits it, which allows it to look more matted. But now I think the texture is like a little bit too extreme between the hot and cold areas. So what I'm gonna do to try to split the difference is also play with the roughness on that second slider there, and the metallic. So it's metallic and slightly less rough than the black area, so that we get this a two-tone effect on all the inside wires, which I think will look really cool when this is brought to life in AR. I don't know if I'm liking my square that I made, mostly because I think the lens is supposed to be a little bit, the little sensor is supposed to be a little bit closer to the actual lens. But maybe what will help my brain is turning on shadows and just seeing what shadows look like in this environment. Also throwing it into an environment that we can see without blur. So I want to see what the mech would look like in different lighting situations, and now we can with Substance Painter. We can also throw in different environments to light our scene. So I'm going to throw this into a parking garage. Cool, cool. A little dark in this garage. Let's try a studio environment. This one's also pretty dark. Let's try another studio, maybe one that has lights on the floor too. Okay, this one gets me a better idea of how matted or reflective the outer shell is, and it makes me think I want to go with more of a plastic coating for the skin. So what I'll do to get a more plastic coating is search for plastic inside of the libraries. They actually have plastic in here. They have a dirty plastic. Sorry, a dusty plastic. I can throw this on. Oh wow, it actually looks really cool too as another variant. But I was just going to use it for its matted attribute. So I'm going to take the color parameter off and the dirt parameter. Actually, I really liked that color, to be honest. Maybe what I'll do is I'll add a black mask, and then we'll refine the mask to only pull on the UV lens. So I'm going to add a generator and then use the generator based off of UV bounce and reduce that balance. And this will kind of create more chiseled edges on our model to get like a matte plastic look on those edges. We can boost that contrast if we want it to be sharper, or the smoothness if we need it to be smoother. And the distance is how far that scatter is going to go. So I'm just going to boost it a little bit so we get those nice little white outlines around the edges now, which kind of helps sharpen it up, make it a little bit more stylized. Yeah, that feels a lot better now with that look and feel. I'm still not really liking my white paint that I put on the front face. So I need to think about that. I might want to repaint that actually. I'm gonna throw on some plastic gloss material on here. Oh, I really like the shininess of this, but not the darkness. I mean, I do like the darkness, but it doesn't look like the Instagram logo anymore. So I'm gonna take away the color parameter so that we get those scratches and the shininess of that plastic on there. Cool. And now I'm gonna look for an aluminum or some kind of painted plastic. Now it looks like a toy almost. It's like a toy now. And I don't want that to have the base color. I'm just gonna take away the base color. A lot of this is just experimenting with different color properties and playing around with the results, seeing what you like, seeing what you don't like, and then expanding from there. Okay, so I'm getting rid of that front paint that I did, and I want to repaint it with this different texture. So we can jump into a different channel for our paintbrush, and so now whatever we paint, you know, will be like graffiti on here. And I just want to create something that feels a little bit like the Instagram logo's white outline. I think what I messed up on though was this spacing. I didn't put I put too much space between the lens and the sensor. Just kind of throwing off my square. With just the white matte finish on the surface, the robot reminds me of the robot from Portal. Oh yeah, it does have that look. That's cool. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like I wish I could just move this. So luckily we can go into Cinema 4D, and I'm just gonna move this purple lens so that it's not like right there, because it's distracting me having it be so close to the edge. So I'm just gonna grab all of the lens and then push it a little bit closer to, or move the sensor a little bit closer to the thing, like the Instagram logo has it. And then we'll click File, Save, Export, Object. We're gonna call this Variant 3. Variant 3. And you should be able to just drag and drop your replacements into Substance Painter now. They added that not too long ago, and it preserves all your textures and stuff, especially if your model hasn't changed all that much. And so that way we're able to just give us a little more space. I do see the one thing that did get messed up was the baking of that light got messed up somehow. So that will need to be reworked, but not bad, not bad. All right, so I'm gonna go to the lens, go to Edit, Bake Mesh Maps, and I'm just gonna bake the lens and leave everything else alone. Hopefully that fixes some problems. It still looks a little messed up there. Let's try this again. So I'm gonna paint the lens material on here. And then we want that silver chrome material on the outside. Okay, I think that gives us a little bit more space to put the white square on the skin of the robot's face. So I'm gonna go to that layer, go to that mask, and now I feel like we do have more real estate for that. So I'm going to go to the edge here and then start clicking down, holding Shift to create perfectly straight lines. And go to the top and connect it. It's looking a little too wide. I'm gonna maybe smooth it out. Okay, that feels better. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, now if we get in really close to the details on the reference artwork, there's all sorts of little buttons and knobs that they made on the model. I used to wonder how they made this stuff without having to sculpt it in. And the trick is called using a height map or a normal map. And I want to show you that now. So a height map is really interesting. So we'll go to the skin layer, I'm gonna make a new material, and for now I'm just gonna paint this red. All right, so even by itself, this looks like a cool new robot, and I like it. But I'm only using the red just to point out a visual here. So right now, wherever I paint, I can reveal that red layer. And so when you think of this, it's like you're painting on that model. I'm painting red onto it. But what's really special about Substance Painter, that's the program that we're using right now, Adobe Substance 3D Painter, is that you don't just get to paint color. You can paint all sorts of other parameters at the same time, like roughness. So see how now I made it less rough? Now it's like shiny, like looks like a wet red paint. Or we can make it more metallic. Now it has like a chrome look to it. So you can paint different parameters into your models. So what I'm gonna do is turn off color, and all I wanna paint is height. And height lets you actually create new dents into your model. New dents and new grooves, which is a really, really cool process. I like to combine height with a roughness change, and that kind of creates a separate texture feeling for areas of the model that I want to emboss, or carve into it. So if I clear the mask now, and now start writing into it, you'll see that we're able to carve right into the model. You see how it's actually creating some depth? It's creating depth right into the model surface. That's like actual depth change. So we can use that depth change to create really cool procedural lines onto our mech version of this robot. So for example, I'm gonna go zoom into the UV coordinate space and just carve in some straight lines on the model. And simple as that, we now have some nice little grooves added into the paint. Now if we couple this with a slight color change, right, where if I add a little bit of color, maybe I'll just give it like a little bit of a shadow in there, and then maybe reduce its overall opacity. Now we can add kind of like a little shade of purple as we carve into the model and create some really cool like cyberpunk looking lines on this model. And you can erase stuff still, and you can add more and subtract some. And so I'm just gonna kind of go on here and start carving out some new unique shapes. And we maybe want to go over here and create like a little button. So I just draw a little square. And now there's like a nice little groove there. Sometimes you'll see that the map is curving in your perspective. And that happens when it depends on what kind of area you're painting at what time. You can also change like the hardness of the brush. So now it's painting more gradually if I wanted to make like a big indent area, or we can harden the brush if we want it to be like a really sharp line. Substance Painter is it's a truly remarkable painting tool, It's just, it can do quite a lot. Okay, so let's create some more creases, more lines, more vents. You can also use stencils and stuff too. Oh, we got a question from Wolf of Pick Union. Says, hey Don, hope all is well. Quick question. Have you been using the new Substance update for AR renderings? I just finished watching the video when you found out about the update and had to stop the video. Oh yeah, we're using it right now. This is the new updated version of Substance since they've launched it. Since Adobe launched all the changes. And it's fantastic, gotta say. I love this stuff. I really do. All right, I'm gonna add a curvature, a smoother tool that lets you draw curves more smoothly. So I'm able to create that curvature, not naturally, but rather using the lazy brush lets you draw curves with ease. I'm someone, who struggles to draw straight lines. So it's really great that they have tools in there that can assist people like myself and others who have the idea in mind of what they're trying to draw, but they may not have the ability or the physical ability to move their hands in a certain way. So this lazy brush technique helps smooth out your curvatures without you drawing that perfect curve. So yeah, right now we're just going through and we're adding little creases and things into the model, just for fun. And yeah, and talk about like different design techniques. You know, you can paint all sorts of different shapes into here. I'm just using a circular brush, but you could use like a sci-fi brush if you wanted to create something unique. You know, you can paint, you know, you can use height maps of any kind of data. Kind of looks like a bicycle tread. There's also nails. You know, if you want to just create little dots in a line, like as if it's like a, I don't know, something embossed on your model. So I'm just creating some different, you know, points of interest. We have that lazy brush on, so I can draw smooth curvature with just the mouse. Yay, thanks Wolf. Yeah, so once you bring your models into Adobe Substance 3D Painter, if you don't already have the UV coordinates made from a different program, you can use their auto UV tool, which is really sweet, and it will look at your geometry and it will do its best to unwrap it without, you know, skipping a beat. Right now I'm just trying to look for some different like mechanical looking parts. So let me even search for that. Let me see, is there mechanical? Mech. Nope. There's no mechanical alphas. Let's see if there's any other mechanical stuff. Oh, some gear cogs. Those will be kind of cool. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use a gear cog around some of these circular parts. If you can identify what part of the body it's on, so like right here, I want to stamp it. And now we have a nice, pretty shape. Oh, my drawing distance is set too low. Let me try lowering it. Okay, I mean, this is looking great. Will you be on this year's Adobe Max event? Yes, I actually do a whole talk about the entire Substance suite in so much detail. Yeah, I'll be doing it this year, and I'm really happy with the presentation that they gave me the opportunity to make, and I believe it will be useful information for people that are trying to get into the space and are trying to understand how do you use all those Adobe tools. Yeah, I just finished my recording for it and I sent it in. I think I'm just getting some notes back, any things that they might want more clarity on, but it should be all done and you'll see it live in Adobe Max in October. Yeah, Adobe's a great client. I like them. I wish their software was more affordable, but luckily there are some awesome nonprofits like Jumpstart Designers that is getting Adobe products into new designers' hands who normally wouldn't have access to graphic design workflows and opportunities. So yeah, there's some cool stuff out there. All right, so what I'm doing right now, folks, that are just joining in, is I'm just adding creases and lines into our model, and it's all procedural, so I can go ahead and change the direction of the height. I can change the roughness of those areas, make it really shiny in those areas, almost like they're chromed out. We can even make them more metallic in those areas so that it feels like these are like, see that? Now it's like a mirror in there. This purple line's all chrome. That's a little too shiny, so I'm gonna reduce the metallicness. It's actually, yeah, it's maybe a little distracting, to be honest. I might reduce the shininess of that area a lot. Make it less metallic, a little bit rougher, so the light just hits it and bounces at a different angle. Okay. I love it. I love it a lot. I'm not done, but I'm happy with the way it's looking. pleased with the results. I'm gonna just save my work as we're going here. And let's switch up the lighting in the scene. Give us something different to look at. Ooh, some pretty lights. Oh, that's really pretty. So these, the lighting that you see back here is using a thing called an HDRI map. It stands for a high dynamic ranged image. They're great for creating spheres that you can use to light your scenes. Substance Painter comes with a lot of them. So here's one like on a Martian looking planet. It's a great one if you want to see what your stuff is going to look like in another world. We have cave entrances, we have concrete areas, we have oceans, we have some, you know, little forested areas. All really great ways to see what your model is going to look like, you know, in the real life environment that it might be living in, especially since I'm going to be bringing this into AR. Like right now, I just noticed that I want to maybe put a reflective material on the skin there so that we don't just see the surface of the, I don't want to just see the surface of my model here. I want it to be reflective. So I'm going to fill the whole thing and then make it really shiny, really glossy, make it a black gloss. Even that looks kind of cool, but I'm going to only do it in one spot here. So I'm going to add a black mask and then reveal that mask just behind there. You see how that's like, that's that right inside the glass. So I can just fill this circle. And now we have a nice barreling lens with some solid geometry in there, but it looks like it's like we're looking into a camera now. And I should probably do the same for this point in here of just putting a nice reflective dark coated material over there. Oh, and actually I think I forgot to add the white material as well. So let's just gonna add that white ring around it. Yeah, that feels a little weird, a little better. Do they have a white ring? Yeah, they do. Okay, just wanted to double check. Oh, thank you so much, Kevin. Do you know if Substance is going to be available on the iPad, Don? My current belief is that no. I don't think it's ever going to be on the iPad right now. It seems like they wouldn't want to do that because they want to make their... If it was going to happen, it would probably be in like at the earliest 3 years from now. It's such a... The whole application of Substance and the designer suite was all made with very much a desktop and laptop focus in its architecture. So I can't imagine them rewriting everything like that overnight, even though I would totally prefer that. Yeah, we can dream that that can happen. The closest thing to Substance Painter on an iPad is Nomad Sculpt. You can paint quite a lot of different textures, and Procreate in about, I think in a week and a half, the Procreate app is going to allow you to start painting 3D models within Procreate. And if you think you're mishearing me, I'll say it again. Procreate app on iPad and iPhone is now going to allow people to paint 3D models right inside of the iPad. That will be the closest / maybe even better option for texturing stuff in the future, because Substance is awesome and everything. I will continue to use it for a long, long time, but I can't really get around how convenient that would be to have that on an iPad. I think the only caveat that I'll share with you that I think is the truth, don't know this for a fact, but it's my guess, is that it still is going to require that you do a UV unwrapping of your models beforehand. I don't think you're going to be able to do UVs natively inside of Procreate. I don't think they have that, at least not in this version. But anywho, right now I'm just adding some more designs. These designs, we could have modeled these into our thing, but the reason why I'm not modeling them in and just painting them is for memory. This is a lot less data to think about. And we can do a lot of really nifty designs as textures like this versus having to actually sculpt all that would be, maybe a little tedious in some cases. So I'm just making my own little designs here. What I really love about the direction that 3D is going is that the lines between texturing and modeling are just blurring so much lately, where it's like, you know, some people will be like, well, why don't you model this onto your thing? And in my brain, I'm thinking, well, that's because I can just do that thing as a texture. You know how much extra polygons this would have added to put like circle cutouts all throughout the model like this? I mean, that would have been such a heavy asset for no reason. You know, if we can achieve the look and feel that feels right and feels like we're doing the model justice, there's no need to complicate things, I think. And I'm just going through here, and I purposely turned off symmetry so that I can force myself out of the habit of just leaving symmetry on and trying to get some different, you know, designs to appear in the model. Let's go to the lower leg here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining everybody here. We did all the modeling for this in Gravity Sketch, and then we did model cleanup in Cinema 4D. Just changing up the whole everything. Now what I'm doing is looking through the brush library. You can find all sorts of brushes. One of them in here is called screws. Look at that. Look at that intricate shape. And that's not actually geometry, that's only a texture. What's making it look like it's bumpy is the use of a height map that kind of maps and changes the way that light hits based off of a coordinate system. But it's an illusion, because it is still and always has been a 2D texture. So what I'm going to use that texture for is make a new layer. I'm going to make it all shiny, and then we're going to fill it with some dark metal. And then I'm going to make it very much like metal by increasing that metallic shader. And then to make it look like dirtier metal, I'm going to roughen it up so it's a little bit shinier, polished. And then to make it look like dirty metal, we can actually add a smart mask into here as a procedural texture. So they have all sorts of procedural textures with this amazing program, and some of them have the properties of metal. You know how like when light hits metal, like it can look all shiny and like the light like spins on it? That's called an anisotropic radial material. So I'm gonna apply that as our metal. And now we have some anisotropic, it's hard to say that word, anisotropic. Anisotropic. Jeez, I can't speak that word. Anisotropic. All right, so I just added it as height. It's looking a little too extreme. I think I overdid it there. So I'm gonna reduce the balance and the contrast and just try to smooth it out a bit. I mean, I like that for other reasons, but wow, this looks cool. But I don't wanna distract from that. So let me go back. We'll take away the anisotropic material. I'll just go with this really shiny chrome, almost like a lead material that we just made here that has these nice little scratches on it. And then with this, we're gonna add a black mask. And now I'm gonna paint to reveal a nail that lives in there. We're gonna boost the height. And now wherever we paint is gonna get a nice chrome nail. Look at that, easy as pie. And we can change the spacing. So I can go to increase the spacing interval and change that brush size. And we can use this to create like nails and screws and stuff on the top edges of this thing. So I'm gonna go to an orthographic view by hitting our orthographic camera projector. Orthographic is great for having no distortions in the camera lens. And we can just hold shift across. Now we just got some nice little nails in here for free. And I'll do the same over here. I wish I could see them spaced out before committing to it. Let's see if I can maybe reduce the spacing interval. Looks like they're not actually dark enough. I might want the nails darker, so I'm going to go to that. Since we're building this procedurally, I'm gonna make the light scatter more and make them more metallic and have a greater height. That way we get this really solid nail look on the top. And then we can continue to add nails on the top over here. Great, and then we'll do the same on the sides. Actually, I'll do some on the corners. Moving the light to the other side here. Great, and then we'll do some more nails and stuff added to random spots on the model. Putting nails here, putting some nails there. The details only matter if you want people to really feel like the piece went over their expectations. All right, I'm pretty happy with that leg design there. Let's add some nails, some nuts and bolts to the arm attachments. Cool, so we got a lot more complexity out of that model just by running it through a lot of different height maps and procedural texturing. I'm gonna save where we're at and then turn back off our orthographic camera, go to perspective, hit F to find your model, and then let's switch our environment yet again to a different space. I like this one. I like some outdoor stuff now. I mean, I guess the other one was outdoors too, but this one feels cool. Okay. Next thing I'm noticing is their camera has some cool texture around the borders like this. I think we could maybe make something like that. Make it a little bit more grunged. Also, I want to add some oil and dirt and stuff around the openings on the skin. So let's create a mud layer, or not mud, more like a, there's actually already a brush that pretty much has what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna find it. It's called forged, iron forged, like a forged metal. Oh wow, this looks really cool for other reasons. I really like the decay it has on the edges. I might just turn off the base color. Oh, it looks really dirty now. I think I went too much on the grunge. Or maybe I just want to tint the I might just want to tint the these ones. So what is that? It's a gray, it's a dark thing. That's set to linear, it's sharpen. I mean, I kind of like it, I don't know, mixed feelings. I guess that's not the one I was looking for. I thought it was called Iron Forged, or is it Old Iron? Huh. Let me go back. I think it's a smart material that comes with it. Oh, I think it's called Steel Ruined. There we go. So Steel Ruined has these dark spots that I want to use. So I'm gonna reduce everything else out of there. I don't need the base, don't really need the bumps. I just want to keep the dirt wherever that is. It's this layer, there we go. So this dirt looks great. I think it gets me mostly there. We can increase the level of dirt, the contrast that that dirt has, the grunginess of the dirt. It's an overall really powerful tool. And I'm not gonna keep it all over the place like this because this looks like mayhem. I only want it in a few spots, but I first wanted to get this material. Now I'm going to add a black mask, and now wherever I paint with my regular brush, it's going to reveal that grunge. And I just want to do it around the gears and stuff, where I think it would be the dirtiest if this thing was moving around. You'd get a lot of grunge build up probably around the bottom half, in my opinion, and around joints like the leg joints and stuff. You'd get, you know, some dirt in the cracks. So I'm just gonna add some dirt. It's like doing like exactly. It's like a puzzle. I think of it as like I heard it from a friend of mine at DreamWorks. I asked him, what do you do at your job? Like, how would you describe your job to others? And this is this particular artist is a surfacer. The surfacing department at DreamWorks would make all of the, well, it's this. They would use Substance all day and Houdini to paint all of the models and bring them to life. Really cool stuff. And so, let me add a black mask real quick. And so when I asked them how would you explain your job to others, they said they say that they're a reverse forensic scientist. And what that meant to them is that they go about trying to tell a story out of materials. That's their whole job. You know, it's like, what story can be told through just looking at the material of something? How do we know the story of that material if that's all we see? And I thought that was like a really cool insight into how surfacers at studios think of it. You know, they think of it as reverse forensic scientists. Yeah, okay, I'm going to the height here. I was gonna use this to try to create some mud, but it's looking like I'm not getting the color that I want out of here. Maybe I need a dirt brush or something. It just seems like this dirt is really light for some reason when it's masked. So let me remove the mask. Yeah, because this looks great. And then I add a black mask and then I start to paint and then it's like, it barely tints it at all. I have my opacity set to 100%. I don't know why my brush wouldn't make it darker. Yeah, it's not even adding value. What if I set this to multiply? It's a little bit darker. Okay, I'll work with that. I do want it to be more opaque though. Let me try this again. I have this white mask, I add a black mask, and I want to paint to reveal underneath it, but it's like faded. I wonder what is the problem. It doesn't like black. Wow, it doesn't like the black material. I have a racist substance painter. It's not preserving the true quality of black. It keeps trying to change it. It's weird. I don't know how to deal with that at the moment. All right, I'm gonna grab more metal. Aluminum, throw some aluminum on here. Oh, aluminum's way too bright, take that away. Let's grab a different metal, maybe a stained aluminum. That looks a little bit better. Gonna add a black mask. Oh wow, I'm still seeing the same problem there. This software is called Substance Painter. Substance Painter. It's great. I can't recommend it enough. Right now I'm just going through and adding a little bit more texture. I'll probably end up reducing the amount of texture I'm putting onto parts of this because it's like overkill. But yeah, I'm just applying some different qualities to the metals and stuff. This is a shader that I bought that has these really cool procedural lights on it. I don't like everything about this texture, but it is really cool for creating like glowing, like, you know, lights and stuff. This will be more apparent if I turn the lights of the scene down, lower the exposure. You can see that we get this really cool glowing internal parts. And so I do want to use that. I actually only want to use the glowing nature of it and nothing else. Oops, let me put that back up to the top. So to keep the glowing nature, we just go to our material and turn off everything that is not under the shader that we want. So it's just a fill object, I think. Yeah, it's just a regular fill. And if we jump into its material preset, I can turn off color, normal maps, height, opacity, roughness, and metallic, and I just want emissive to be turned on. And then now we get these glowing lights that will happen throughout the model. But I don't like the colors that they are, so I want to change the color myself, and we can dive into the camera or the attributes. Oh, it doesn't give me a parameter to change the color. That's unfortunate. I'll have to do it myself with a filter. So I might add a filter like a hue, saturation, and lightness, HSL, and then use this to, oh weird, it's not letting me change the hue. Oh, there it goes. Okay, great. So now I can change the hue of the lights inside to bring it to life. So I want to keep it kind of aligned with the color palette I was already using. And then let's go to the hue. Cool, we get some nice reds and pinks in there now and a couple of little sparkles of blue. Looks kind of cool. I like it. Let me turn down the lights or just swap it for a really dark environment. Yeah, so now the lights are gonna stay glowing in there, which looks pretty cool. Another thing I don't really use too much, but I guess I should share this, is a Substance Painter actually has a robust post effects library. So post effects happen in between you painting and you rendering. It's kind of like, yeah, it's right in between those two parameters. So if I turn on activate post effects, we can turn on things like glare, and watch what this does. It's pretty nuts. So I just turned up the glare. I don't see anything happening yet. Let me rotate my lights. Where's my glare? Okay, this was a bad example. Let me try a different environment. Oh, there we go. You see these little sparkles now that we get? This is actual photorealistic glare that we can get off of our model now. And the glare is highly, highly customizable. We can change it to cheap lens. We can make it a horizontal streak. We can make it a after image. And it's very responsive to the lights. So if I were to go to my environment and crank it up a little bit to like a 0%, we now have post effects. So we can get like You see what that's doing? See how it's like keeping a bit of exposure afterwards, right? Like it's burning into the lens. Oh, he said, take my money. I know, right? I mean, this is some great stuff because you can actually render still images right out of Substance Painter. You don't have to make stuff for AR and VR. I like using it for lots of purposes. So sometimes when I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to bring it into another program to do my rendering, I'll just render out of Substance Painter. I mean, it can definitely handle it. Let me go back and other things. So we can also turn off that background again. So if I go to our background environment, display settings, we can turn off the background and still keep all of those glares. You can see all the glares working. And then we have a thing like in our post effects presets, we have a ramp factor, we have a threshold. So now it's kind of got like a haze. Oh, that's too much. Let me turn it down. And we have a luminance. So that can now, that can already add a lot more oomph to your models. Another one that they have, I'm going to turn off that post effect. I'm going to turn off glare. They have one called bloom, and it does just that. Creates some photorealistic bloom. I use this one a lot. Bloom is the light that comes off of an object from the photo sensor just being exposed to light. You've seen photo blooms before in cameras, and so that's how I made this. I like using photo blooms because it takes the highlights and it kind of creates a glow just around the highlight areas, you see. That's what bloom is all about. I use it all the time. You can also turn on a vignette and increase that strength. So now we get this nice dark cone around here. That's a nice vignette around the whole thing. Especially great when you're trying to show a client a pretty render. As you're working on it, you can send them this and be like, what do you think? Upon a second look, I'm thinking I have too many colors going on inside of the glowing wires. So I changed my mind about that because we already have so much color with the rest of it. Oh, bloom is, oh wow, thanks. I love using bloom. I mean, it really changes the feel very quickly in a good way for your model. And let me switch the environment out. Let me switch to a different environment. Look, this is a colder environment. Get this nice blue light in here. And we haven't even rigged this yet, friends, and we have not even animated this. This thing is going to be moving, and it's going to be alive. It's going to have bones. It's going to be able to rotate, and it's going to be able to articulate its different joints. I kept it in this T-pose here because the original model that I found online was this. I love this design, but if we kept our model in this shape, it would be very hard to rig it later for me. I like to rig my models in a T-pose. And a T-pose is what it sounds like. You try to get the arms and legs in as much as a T shape as possible. The spot that I always struggle with rigging, and I think I'm always going to struggle with rigging, is armpits. Armpits, back of elbows, these are the hardest things to rig. For me, armpits are the hardest. So what I did in this character to make armpits less of a struggle when I get to that rigging point is I put the joint of it as a sphere. That way, as the sphere rotates, I think it will mask a lot of problems. It's not the best solution, but it is a solution that I honestly do, and it works for clients. They are happy when their rigs appear to work. The other thing I'm noticing is the reference model has more of a red stripe across the middle. I kind of want that after all, so let's make a red stripe in the paint. So we're gonna go to our skin layer. This is the skin layer here. If I could turn off and on. So we're on the skin layer, and in the skin, I would like to have a nice glow of red across the whole thing, of red paint. So I might just do it manually, or we can use other techniques. So I'm gonna fill the whole thing with red first. So I'm gonna grab it, fill it with red. And even just think about how fast that was. Like, this can be another model that you sell or use as a product or do a demo with in a video game or a new character in a movie. Like, a new player in a game. Like it's wild. When you design stuff in Substance Painter, you're designing for speed and efficiency. You're designing in a way that your work is non-destructive. Just had to say that for a moment. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna add a generator, and I'm gonna use they have one in here called 3D Linear. I think that's it. Yeah. And this basically paints a three-dimensional gradient through your model. And if I increase the contrast, you'll see the line of the gradient a bit better, a little bit more clearly. And we can rotate that line and isolate it to be a specific shape. And then we can also flip it and stuff if you want to see it on the other side. So I'm thinking of doing it right about here for starters. And then, yeah, that's the first step. And then I'm just gonna copy this mask. Copy mask, where is it? Copy mask. And then we're going to group this and add a black mask to it, and then paste our mask on top of this. So I go to paste into mask. And now what we can do with that second mask is change the balance, and it creates a red stripe across our model. And it's a 3D stripe because it actually goes through the whole model like that. I like using 3D linear gradients when I don't want to tediously repaint a complicated shape. All right, so looking back at our reference, I think the biggest difference is I think I made mine a little bit too shiny because I like seeing metal in like my renders, but I do think it's a little too shiny, to be honest. So I'm gonna go to the skin and I'm gonna reduce the shine, unfortunately. So we're gonna go to, first gotta find where is the shine coming from? Where is the bulk of the shine coming from, I mean? Not seeing it. When I don't see the shine, what I'll do is I'll just search for like a matte material, like a plastic, a dusty plastic, and that will kind of kill your shine. And then what you do is you eliminate the parameters that you don't want tweaked with this parameter. So I don't want the color touched, and I do want the metallic to be adjusted a bit. And then we can play with the roughness, play with the metallic. So I just kind of, it's still made of metal, but it's more like a softer metal now. I don't know. I'm split. I'm split on this one. If we should make it shinier or more matted, I can't decide. Or maybe let's use a gradient, a grunge texture to decide for us. So we can use a metal grunge, and then we can use that to define areas of metallic nature. Oh wow, I don't really see it at all. Oh, there it is. It's a weird one. Oh, it's really subtle. Really, really subtle there. Let me try a different metallic grunge texture. Oh, that looks, no, that doesn't look good. I guess it's coming in almost like a color parameter, and I don't really want color. Whoa, that's cool. I will use this in the future. I've never used that gradient before. Whoa, look at that one. That's wild. Huh. Learn something new every time I use this program. Okay, what if we put it into the normal map? Will that break it? Oh yeah, that breaks it. So don't put that into a normal map. It breaks the texture. Looks like we spilled oil on it. Okay, I guess we'll just leave it metallic in those little areas. Yeah, it just has a slight metallic nature. But I think I got too grungy with it. So I'm gonna go back and reduce some of the grunginess of it now. because it just looks too mushy for me. Taking away some of the stains layers. Yeah, just taking away some of the stains. I'll keep those stains. Keep those stains. Okay, that feels much better. So now we get that metallic nature in the parts that need it, and we get those nice articulated lines. Oh, thank you so much for vibing with the surface imperfections. Yeah, surface imperfections like these on the edges help things feel more real, because it's very rare that things don't have imperfections, especially if they've been used. Also, what are your ideas on this? I was thinking of putting a red light here. Does that make sense? Because like the way they show it, like the Instagram logo, when you see the Instagram logo, would you have thought that that's another camera, or would you think that's a light indicator? Because like now I'm starting to think it's a light indicator instead of it being another camera. You know? I put it as a black dot here, but I'm thinking it's probably like, I think it makes more sense if that was not that. Like, I'll show you. I'm gonna fill it with an emissive property. We'll make a whole layer emit red light like it's recording. And then I will add a black mask, as we do. And then I will reveal that mask just inside there. Oh, it's a flash, you're right. Okay, I know what you mean. All right, so I just made a red glowing light in there. So it's glowing so that even if the lights turn off on the model and you're putting this in AR in a dark room, it will still glow red in there. Or should I just fill the whole thing with red, make it really creepy? It's like a big old red recording eyeball, big brother. What are your thoughts? Do we make it a recording light or a flashlight? Which would be as friendly as switching the color to something different. Or a pink light. Or a yellow light. Flash or light indicator. Okay, you're feeling like a flash? All right, so then that's probably white light then. Oh, but now it's kind of hard to read the shape, huh? Maybe red, I don't know. And the other thing I'm just realizing is I used a tinted glass on the lenses, but I gave the lens just a solid color. We don't have to give it a solid color because the reference image here, I see that their lens has blue on the bottom right and a red on the left. I like that. So let me see if I can add some color tinting to my lenses. I'm gonna copy my glass shader. And then on this glass shader, I'm gonna copy the mask and then delete it. And then make a new fill object and add a black mask and then fill it with the same one. Where is it? Black mask, black mask, black mask. Actually, what am I doing? What am I doing? There's an easier way to do this. We can use the paintbrush and I can just paint a color onto here. So I'm gonna grab like a red light color, put it on the top of the lens here. We'll mask out this stuff where it overshoots. And then I'll grab a blue, the bottom of the lens, and then like a yellow for over there. And then we'll add a black mask and then use paste into mask. Great. And now instead of painting just color, we can keep the color but eliminate all the other parameters and then drop the percentage of color's influence. Oh, I see that it fades out the whole thing. I don't want to do that. Maybe we can set the blend mode to like overlay. Now I think the glass is tinted. Or it looks like it's just painted right on there. Huh, how do we do, I'm forgetting how to do tinted glass. Oh, we don't paint it as a color, you paint it as an emissive. I think that would fix, I wish I could copy that as an emissive. I don't think I can do that. Yeah, I don't see it doing it. Oh, there we go. So now we can paint emissive. Sweet. All right, let me erase what was in here. Even that looks kind of cool, just like a little fog on the glass. And then now we'll paint in a red glow there. And then we'll put in a little bit of blue. It's actually looking a little too bright. I'm gonna darken the blue. And then go in with a yellow. Ooh, that's too much glow. I need to make these way darker. Okay, about to wrap up here with this phase. I might take away the lights on the metal, on the inside metal. I liked it for a while, but now it's just feeling really busy. So if I can't like reduce it, yeah, I want to try to reduce it first. See if we have any luck with that. So now it's a little bit more infrequent. That might help. And then I might change that. Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's go to a super dark room. Okay, let's turn the lights back on. Whoa. It's like a solar flare. Okay. All right, I think the model is done with the painting process. I'm really happy with the way the paint looks on here. Yeah. Yeah, we went our own little direction with it, but I think that paid off. So rigging time. Let's go the auto rigging tool technique to save us some frustration. I'm gonna export this textures for USDZ, since that's what I'm gonna use to preview it in a very high quality format here. So do USDZ or USD PBR metal roughness. We'll keep all the attribute sizes. I'm gonna change the location of where I'm saving this robot mech textures, make a new folder. I'll just call this mats for materials. And then we'll export all those textures out. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I wanna preview this in USDZ real quick, so I'm gonna bring this into Reality Composer and just preview it in AR on my desk right here and see if we're getting something. I just want to see if the textures, if I'm happy with the textures or not. The chances are high that I'm going to be happy with them, because usually USDZ preserves and honors your texture quality, but it doesn't hurt to try. So I'm just signing in on the other screen here to an Apple computer. And yeah, I'll go into Reality Composer. And I'm gonna bring in my mech. This file size is 27 megabytes. Not bad. Well, we don't have any animation added to it yet. That will definitely change the file size, but let's take a look in AR. All right, let's take a look in AR. It should be up on the Apple side of things. What is this? Oh. No. No. It's like an ad inside here. All right. Yes. This looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Cool. Let's come down on the table here. Yeah. Yeah, this works. Okay. Sweet. All right. Now what? So it looks like it's working okay in AR. What I might change isn't really too much. I might just export the model from within here. So I'm gonna go to export mesh and triangulate it. Call this robot painted. Save it. And then go back into our other tools and bring back the robot painted. I don't know where it saved it to. Let me try that again. Export mesh. Oh, I went to a random spot. Let me try that again. Okay, and I'm gonna bring this FBX into here. All right, so this is the model as it is, and this is the one that has all the proper textures on it, all the UV coordinates. I think we might need to merge all this together though in order for it to be rigged. I don't think models tend to like being separated. I think that would be a problem. So, well, actually, yeah, I'm not totally sure if this will be a problem or not. What I'm gonna do is replace everything. So this will be the skin. We'll go into the skin layer, replace it with a color. In this case, it will be the skin base color. We'll set the viewport to no scaling of materials so we get the quality in there. Cool. And then I'll do the same for the skin. Yeah, I'll just do that one, and I'll do the lens base color. I'll just basically do the base color of everything, and then yeah, we'll just do the base color of everything, and then where's the last one? Skin, and then the metal base color is kind of like that. I don't know what you describe this as. Okay, so there we go. Our model has just the base colors applied to it. I think I need to connect all these together so it's one object, described from, I hope, 3 different UVs. I don't know if it's gonna like that. Let's see. Oh no, it's stacked all of our UVs on top of each other. Oh, dang, and I think scaling this will break it, right? Yeah, we can't scale it, shoot. Okay, I'm gonna first try to import this as 3 separate objects. I think it's not gonna work, but I wanna just try that in case. So we might have made a bad decision by separating the model at all. If we want to bring it into AR with animations, that might become a huge problem. Let's see, I'm going to combine all these textures under one null, and then I'm going to go to File, Export, FBX. If you want to see your colors appear in Mixamo, you have to save it as a version of FBX from 2014. I'm going to call this one rigging, auto rigging. We could manual rig, but do we really want to do that? Do we want the suffering? No, not today. I just want to see this robot move. I do want to do some manual animation with it, but I want to get a rig from it going. I need to do an authentication, but I think I have to do it on my iPhone, and that might kill the live feed. Yeah, I can't authenticate it without my phone. I have to what will happen. Usually this shouldn't work because it wants cohesion. It wants one set of UVs, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have some luck. And we're just doing the auto rigging right now. What we're rigging is this character that we just previewed in AR. It's the character that we made today. And I'm really happy with the way this guy came out. And now we're rigging their body up so that they can move and stuff. And it works in AR as well. I'm gonna put them on the piano here. Yeah, and so now we're rigging this thing. We'll at least try. I don't know if it's gonna work. Did you make it Fiesta in Maya and then transferred it? I made it first in Gravity Sketch, and then after it was in Gravity Sketch, we brought it to life inside of sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm trying to think of where the elbows go on this thing. Where would the elbows go? I don't think I really decided an elbow. I'm gonna guess maybe right here. Knees are pretty clear. Groin is very clear. We'll just do 3-finger chain, or maybe no fingers. Or let's just do 3 fingers. Let's see if we can auto rig. Yeah, so we modeled it first in Gravity Sketch, and then we did model cleanup on it inside of Cinema 4D, and then we did our UV maps in Cinema 4D, and then finally we painted it inside of Adobe Substance 3D Painter. And now we're rigging it with Mixamo, at least trying. It's probably not gonna work because it's broken up into 3 parts. Like there's 3 models in here, they're not all considered one. So I'm pretty certain that it's gonna fail the auto rigging. Otherwise, it will rig it, but it will look really janky. So we'll need to do a lot of manual cleanup. Either way, there's gonna be some jank when this finishes rendering. Either it breaks or it's gonna be bending in really unpleasant ways, totally defeating the robot look. But I just wanted to test it out anyway in case I'm mistaken. So this is Mixamo. It can automatically rig bipedal characters. It works best on humanoid characters, meaning 2 arms, 2 legs, head, torso. Let's see what it did. Looks like it's doing something. Okay, this is actually great news. So it did rig, but notice how we're getting all sorts of warping. So a newbie in animation or someone who's a beginner in rigging, they would see this and be like, I'm doomed. But I see this, and actually this is all I needed. I just wanted to get a bone structure in there. This is actually very easy to clean. Well, not easy. It's very tedious to clean this up in a 3D program, but we can. I wasn't planning on using Mixamo for its library. I was only going to use it to generate the rig because I wanted to do my own animation on this one. Could you do a model in Maya and then pass it to a program like SparkAR, or do you think it's easier to make it like you do? You can definitely go straight from Maya into SparkAR. That's actually easier in some cases. My workflow changes per project. I don't have a single way of doing things, which could be confusing. You know, if you're trying to do this from the beginning. But okay, cool. So all I wanted to get really was this bones. I wanted to get a T-pose of my character rigged, and that's what Mixamo is great at creating. So I have that T-pose now. I'm gonna download that data and see what I don't know what it did to our textures. I'm curious. So I'm gonna bring this in here and see what it did to our textures. Okay, we super lucked out. It looks like it kept our model broken up into 3 separate UVs, which I was worried about for nothing. And yeah, we didn't lose any texture resolution from it doing that. Awesome. And then if we go to the viewport and turn on no scaling, oh, it's not doing that. Oh, weird. It baked. I don't know what it did with the textures here. It won't let me up-res it. That's okay. That's replaceable. What's not replaceable was the bodies. But now we have a body. And it's broken, but it kind of works. So like, take a look. For example, its leg, we can now rotate it. Now the one issue that you start seeing is like the groin is moving with the leg like this, and so is the corner of the face. We also get some weird stuff happening back over here. We got a lot of work ahead of us to fix to fix this. To be honest, you know, but I'm actually just happy with it kind of resembling something. I don't know why it won't let me touch the textures though. That's a little odd. It's like they're all grayed out. And I don't think I've seen that happen in here before. Yeah, and it doesn't have an explanation for it either. Okay, well, I think the auto rigging that it did is really broken, but we did get the bones that we wanted. So what I would do here is delete all my auto weights and then take my whole body structure and delete all of the skin that it created for it. And then try to place it, trying to place it as best as I can. It did a pretty good job. So I'm really happy with it actually. But I am, now that we have this bone system, I'm gonna manually rig it. I decided it's gonna be a little bit, it might be actually easier in this in this instance. So I'm moving the leg position And I'm also gonna be moving that back of the knee position, that left leg. I'll move the left leg and the right leg back here so we get it right on that kneecap. And then we'll toggle those down, grab our left foot and our right foot, send those back and send those down, and then grab our toe base, angle those up, and grab our right foot and our left foot. Oh, actually, I'll just grab one at a time. We'll grab our left foot, push that ankle back. If you hold 7, I think you can drag just a single bone and not move anything else. So I want this to rotate from that cuff. And then same thing here. I want to move my right leg, sorry, my right foot, hold 7 and rotate it from that ankle. Go to our toe base, hold 7 and just line that up. Cool. Now I want to move the hips. Oh, I guess it's the spine. Cool, and everything else is pretty good in my opinion. I might just move like the base of the spine, or I guess the hips is what you might call it here. I might move the hips back and then move all the spines and the shoulders back as well. Grab the left shoulder and the right shoulder. Let's expand that out. I think these need to go in a more shoulder-like location. I'm going to switch to an orthographic top view, set it to display lines. Oh crap, I just hit undo and it just went back so far. I don't know what just happened. Oh no, it's getting worse. Looks like everything slid forward. I'm gonna pull it all back, I guess. Yes, my plan is to bring this into AR. And rigging for AR is not fun. It hasn't been fun. It's just a lot of room for things to break. Yeah. Maybe this is the shoulder. I can't tell what is the shoulder in this example. This kind of resembles a shoulder. So I'm gonna move that there and try the same on this side. Move this into a shoulder kind of rotation. Yeah, that should do. Okay, so now I'm gonna unfold all of the bones. I'm gonna grab all of the bones in the body and then click on the torso and go to character bind. So that's binding all of the bones to the torso. Then I'm gonna do the same thing again, grabbing all the bones. I'm gonna grab the other part of the body, the I don't know, the other stuff, and then we're gonna go to character bind. So now every part of the body is technically rigged, but it's gonna be rigged poorly. There'll be some weird bending of stuff going on, but in principle, this is a much better spot to be in, because now when we move something, it's our joints that it's using. I'm just testing out some little motions. Some things are going to work better than others. This one will need a lot of work to bend the elbows back down. It'll be kind of a struggle. Let's take a look at the legs. Oh boy. Yeah, that's not looking that different from what they gave me. Okay, that looks much better. I like the ankle here. And the knee looks pretty good too. Okay. So the way that you make rigs better for AR, VR, for games, for VFX, for movies, is what you need to do is a process of weight painting, which is telling each bone how much influence it has of each polygon. It is a manual, tedious, boring process. I'm not sure if I'm feeling like doing it all tonight. Maybe we'll just rig like an arm or something, or we'll re-weight paint an arm or something. So let's go into some of this, and I'll switch it to rigging. And you'll see all these colorful things on here. These colors are the weight paints that were automatically generated when we clicked on the bind button. It's when the bones were bound to different areas. And we have a different set of skin for each little section. So if we look at the influence of the hips, you can see everything in red is what things should move when the hips move. Here's the spine. See what I mean? So it kind of like, it looks at your bone structure. I like to display with lines, so it's a little bit easier for me to see. But you see how certain things shouldn't be bending. Like if this was a robotic, shell on the top, it shouldn't look like a sponge when it's bending side to side like this. Those should be more rigid. So the way we fix this is through the process of weight painting. And you do it per bone in the body, per rig. And it's tedious. I don't really have any other way of putting it. So if we go to oil tank, which is kind of all the body here, you can see how it's working. So I'm gonna collapse it down a little bit so that we're only looking at the bones that we really need to look at. All right, so this is looking at the left arm. So you see how right now it thinks the left arm is that in yellow. But when we know the upper part of that arm should also be part of that left arm. So the way we fix this is through weight painting. I'm gonna set my painting from absolute, I'm gonna change it from, to absolute. And now if I paint and click in here, everything I'm clicking is getting 100% influence from the rotation and position of this bone here. This is why when we modeled this, we got rid of stuff that we thought was going to be unuseful, but things like this that I didn't get rid of are going to come back to haunt us unless we actually capture each and every one of them. So we have to go inside of our model and really paint the weight influence of every polygon, or else it won't work and you'll have a sad time. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the arm, and I don't think any of that is considered the left arm in my opinion. And you can always test this by just rotating it around. Now that feels a lot better. That feels a whole lot better. right? Because the reason why it feels better is it's a robot, right? So it shouldn't have a gradual bend. It should be a 100% bend difference between those areas. So now as we were, if we're gonna animate this, it's gonna work a lot better. And now we just do that to the next bone. So this one needs some weight paint as well. So I'm gonna paint all the areas that I believe should be influenced. And luckily, most of our modeling was pretty simple, and these aren't that complicated. But yeah, that looks good. And even looks like we're even getting some cool movement on the actuators underneath there, almost like they're pumping, which is great. Cool. Next bone. Let's go to the hand. This one's interesting. It looks like it only took a portion of it, so we'll just do the same thing, paint 100% influential values. And we have a thumb here. Don't know what bone it thinks that's part of. That's a really weird bone. Oh, all three of these are the thumb. I see. All three of these together make up the thumb. Okay, that actually looks good. And this is what? Left hand index? Oh, so those two fingers. Okay, actually that looks great. And then where's the other finger? Where's this one? Did they forget to paint? Oh no, okay, that's part of the thumb. Oh, that doesn't make sense. We probably don't want this to be controlled by the thumb. We probably want that controlled by not the thumb. Can't speak. Well, the test again is just to grab a bone and rotate it by its root. I see, so that one bone is controlling both the thumb and the index finger. Not great. I'm now regretting doing just the two bone system for the hand. This one looks great for these fingers though. This looks fine. That doesn't look fine. But at least this looks fine. All right, I'll just be really cautious about editing the fingers. Okay, let's look at the right arm. The right arm is gonna have a lot of the same issues that we had before. So we gotta do the same thing. We go in there with our weight paint brush, grab that geometry that we want to paint, weird, I'm not seeing a weight paint option. Oh, there it is. All these little areas have come to haunt us. The forgotten polygons in Gravity Sketch. I still remember years ago when I didn't know how to texture paint or weight paint or do any of this stuff, and how confusing it all looked. And I look back now and I'm just very grateful with what can be learned with time and patience and a commitment to everlasting process of learning. Interesting, that's not the thumb, is it? Let's get the rotations on here. Okay, we got some broken fingers. Broken by our design and our design alone. Wrist looks great though. Is there no way to select multiple elements and fill the color? Not that I know of. I mean, you can do pass-through mode, so you can kind of like, you can paint through objects to another one on the beside it. I haven't tried. I guess let me see. Maybe, yeah. I don't know of a way of doing that. That would be handy though. That would be very handy. But I don't actually know of that technique. I just know of this process is one of the most tedious processes in the game. Weird, it's not counter painting, it's only forward painting. Okay, I might need to turn on projection. Weird, I can't even project paint this. What's going on? All right, I'm just gonna ignore the hand. I'm feeling a little lazy. Collapse that, go to the leg. Same idea with the leg. You know, we can see that this bone should only influence this. It shouldn't touch anything else. So to fix it, we gotta counter select. Whoa, what? See, this is weird. It's not letting me grab certain parts of the model. Don't know what that's about. It's like unclickable. Huh. Yeah, I don't know why I can't paint over that. I'm gonna change the weight paint to subtract mode so it can't actually add. Wow, it's still not doing it. What? What is with these polygons? They won't let me take the paint influence off it. Fall off, none, pressure, maybe set it to strength, no? What about auto normalize? Oh, that broke something. Okay, I don't know. So weird, I can just add. It will not let me subtract this little part of the mesh. That's not fun. The foot looks great. That looks really good. That looks pretty good too. Dang, that's unfortunate. It's just this one little spot here, but I can't seem to unpaint it. Maybe I have to go from the other side, from inside the model. No. I don't know why we can't unpaint this. It's only letting me add purple. It won't let me subtract it. And the reason why this matters is we can't escape the fact that the leg is going to be influencing the corner of the robot head now, unless we can unpaint it. Oh wow, I now see there's other models in there that got the weight influence. Thank you so much for the love on this model. I appreciate that. We are working with it as we speak. I'm seeing some problems with the. Oh, is it locked? That's a good question. I didn't know if that was a thing, but let's see. Is that a thing? What is this? Let's try it now. I saw a lock on the screen. Can I unpaint? No. It's only letting me add. And it won't even let me add entirely. Oh, there we go. Wait, so then, this is driving me nuts. The fall off is set to none. What if it's hardness? Hardness is the fall off. Maybe it's based off of like selected objects only or something. Maybe we don't have the object selected, so I'm gonna grab different parts of the body and try to remove the paint if we can. I don't know. This is bizarre. I think this might be an actual glitch. Is it for Snap or IG, bro? Neither. It's for Reality Composer. I'm gonna save the project and then close Cinema 4D and reopen it, because I think what we just saw here was an actual glitch, because I don't see anything wrong on multiple levels. All right, I'm gonna reopen up Cinema 4D here. I was having a huge weight painting issue the other day and realized the mesh was locked. I didn't even know you could lock a mesh like that. So you're in good company. I think it might be something like what you're describing. Oh, whoa, it just crashed. Uh-oh. It might crash again. Oh no. Oh no. All right, let me close Substance Painter. Yeah, it must have been a real glitch then. Oh, you're in CC3. Wait, what is that? CC3. That's the old model. Where's the recent one? There we go. Okay. Now let's try it. We restarted Cinema 4D. We're going back to the leg. We want to remove this. It won't do it. I haven't seen it do this before. I actually like glitches. I think they're funny. Even when they hurt me, I still think they're funny. I don't know how to solve this one though. So what my unwise solution is going to be for this is to not move the leg because it's gonna mess up the rig. I mean, I would like to just get rid of this influence, but it is it's clearly occupied. Looks like there's other parts of the mesh that need to be influenced there. So maybe if I override it with like the head or the hips or something, maybe I can override it. I'll try that. Okay, this might work. I'm gonna override it so that the hips are forced to control this whole thing. So I'll set this to absolute, and I don't know if this is the right way to do this, but I'm just gonna try to like override it with more data than it can handle. Okay, so now the hips control a lot more. Let's see if that frees up the leg. Oh wow, it did. I don't know why that worked. I have no idea why that worked. Yeah, I'm confused as to why that was the solution, but I'm happy that we can at least move forward. And now we need to also do the same thing to the inside part. So I'm gonna go to the hips, and it looks like, I guess painting the hips is what fixed it. So I will do that as well. I'm just gonna paint all this stuff that's like a light. We might need to do a solo mode. Oh, I can't solo out that, I see. Because there's all these like little mechanical parts that I made in here earlier today, but I can see that they're starting to get in the way of each other. Maserati says, keep it going, bro. You got this. Thank you so much for the inspiration and the energy. I love that. I will keep it up because of you. Thank you. Okay. I think that might have fixed it. Let's go to the left leg and try to give it a little rotation. Yay, that looks much better. That's much better motion. I still see a couple of really loose polygons deep in the groin of the character, so I guess we can maybe fix it by going to the hips and searching into the groin for any loose polygons that we have not attached ourselves to yet, like this one. This sneaky polygon here, just hiding in plain sight. Oh, there's a lot of sneaky ones over here. Sneaky polygons with their influence. Okay, so any other sneaky polygons? I think we're good. All right, so now let's try to rotate that leg, and we have hopes that it will just be free. Yay, it is, it's free. The moment you painted the asset that defines areas of movement that are not stationary. Jake Parker. Love this content. Yay, thank you so much. Yeah, because it's like, you know, the content I have right here is all about not stopping the learning process. Okay, we lucked out with this bone. This looks great. I'm thrilled with the way that this is moving on the knee. I know it bends a little weird on the kneecap itself, but I do kind of like that. The mechanical part, the mechanical parts underneath it are the part that really sell the motion for me. Jake Parker made a sketch that looks exactly like this model. I don't know if you've seen it. Is this the sketch? Is this Jake Parker's sketch? Because this is what I saw on Instagram and was super inspired by it. Let me know if that's Jake Parker, because I will definitely credit them when I post this up. So is this Jake Parker's? Because you're saying if it looks exactly like this, this is exactly what I was inspired by. Okay, cool. Creations by Demand says that's the inspiration. Yeah, this was the inspo. Also, I got it working in AR. Want to see it real quick? Like just the static, the static version of it works in AR now. So here's the model, and it works in AR. If I hit the AR button, have it on my desk right here. So this is the texture quality that we'll be able to get out of it once, yeah. Oh, you think he's gonna like this? Yay! I'll definitely send it Jake's way, and once it's rigged, because right now this is just like a static model. Whoa, that's a trip. Oh my goodness, the LiDAR, I forgot. Wow, sorry, that tripped me out. I was like, wait a second, is it really there? That's one funny thing with working with LiDAR, is like it tricks my brain. Even when I just placed it there and I know it's not really on my desk, my brain was like convinced when I put my hand in front of it. Look at that. That's so nuts. I mean, we can break the illusion by going really close to it. But just the fact that I can like put my hand like behind it, you know, behind it a little bit, and then go back in the front and go back behind it, it feels like it's really there. But yeah, so what I was doing right now is we're rigging the character so that we can bring it to life. But I'm thrilled with the way this is coming out. I could be like, yeah, I 3D printed it. Here's the real thing. Sorry, I'm just having some fun now. With the LiDAR scanner, it works best if you quickly scan around your area before you do anything with it. And then now it's like super responsive. I can put my hands in front. I can go like behind it and go underneath it. Look at that. That's wild. And just to reiterate, when glasses become really common, this is going to be the kind of stuff that makes stuff really special to people when they're like it's here. You can hold it. Okay. Thank you so much. I should take a screenshot or something. Could someone do a screen recording of me talking about this right now and then send it to Jake? So I'm going to talk about how I was inspired by. I'll wait for someone to hit record button. I'll wait like 5 seconds. 3, 2. All right, so I was really inspired by this illustration that I found on Instagram by Jake. And then I decided to turn it into a 3D model. So here it is. Right now I'm working on rigging the character, so we'll get some motion out of it because this is just a static model. But I wanted to thank you, Jake, for the inspiring content and the inspiring illustration. I'm hoping that this model does it justice. Yeah, that's all. I'll continue working. Thank you so much, Everywhere Vlogs. Appreciate that. If you can either tweet it, maybe tweet it to Jake, and then I could retweet it their way. And that will be pretty sweet. But yeah, we can also preview it as just a regular 3D model here on the iPad. This one gets better lighting information when you do it on there. And we carved a little bit more details into it, but it was heavily inspired entirely by his illustration. Oh, if you don't have Twitter, that is totally fine. Instagram works wonderfully. Okay, so I'm going to continue on with the rigging process. Okay, so yeah, this knee is looking pretty good. We get a lot of good rotational movement out of it. I like that. Let's take a look at the ankle. I think we can get a little bit better ankle movement. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it moves a little bit on the, it's probably fine, but I'm just gonna go subtract that movement there, so that way when we go to rotate the ankle, it's only the ankle that moves. That feels a lot better, actually. And then we got this thing. This part wouldn't really have any kind of extra movement like this by its design, but whatever. I just kind of blocked that weight influence in. So now if we rotate it, that feels a little bit more mechanical. Yeah, that looks good. Cool, next leg. Boom, 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 boom. All right, right upper leg. Looks like we are pretty close here. We lost a little bit of influence up there, so let's just add that. Add that all. That looks better. That looks good. All right, next bone. Let's do some left and right movement, forward and back movement, side to side movement, twisting movement. That looks good. Yeah, that looks great. Next joint. Oh, same problem here. Let's go ahead and subtract the influence from there. That way we get a solo ankle rotation. Let's track it left and right, forward and back, side to side. All right, looks good. Oh, wow, it's 28 seconds. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That will help me in acknowledging them for inspiring me to make this. Cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, if you send it to me as a DM, I can take it from there, or if you want to send it as a story, I can also work from there as well. I don't know his Instagram tag yet. That's why I was gonna look it up after, or when I'm ready to post this up. All right, I'm gonna save my project work as we're going here. Let's get to the next part here, which is these things. I probably want the influence. So let me take the spine real quick and see what happens. Oh, that's an interesting new problem. So I guess, oh, I didn't think about that. So the arms, okay, I guess what we're gonna do is not rotate that. That's gonna be a lot bigger kind of fix to make. Dang, I wish we can get this rotation from the upper body too though. That would have been kind of cool. What if we subtract this for a second, set it to absolute. Oh wow, it doesn't want to. This was the same area I had problems with earlier. All right, so I'm gonna have to just leave that. I guess what we'll have to be more creative with is the animation in the shoulders and the arms. That's where we're gonna have to have our creativity work for us. Cool. Okay, I mean, this looks pretty good. Oh, Jake Parker. Thank you so much, Creations by Demand. Oh, wow, thank you, Everywhere Vlogs. I will definitely get this to them. I appreciate you capturing the moment. All right, so I think the character is pretty much rigged up safely. I'll turn off my color grid real quick. So if I display, so what you see right now are the 100% values of influence. So what you see is what you get. The colors of the bones match the colors that I want to be moving by those areas. And that's in the body. And then this is the results for the torso. If we go to solo mode, we can see that looks pretty good. That looks like the right influence. Yeah, that looks like the right influence there. And then we have our oil tank. What is this thing? What is oil tank? Oh, it's calling all of this oil tank. I don't know why it called that. Why is it called oil tank? But that looks like a much cleaner. Oh, you almost got away with it. You almost got away with it. How do we fix this? Where to go? Oil paint, skin, and then go to hips. There we go. Okay, I think that fixes the influence. Oh wow, thank you so much for the kind words. I started the model in Gravity Sketch and then worked my way back into Cinema 4D and then eventually landed with the end result in Substance Painter. All right, so I think it's fully rigged. Now I'm gonna go back into Cinema 4D. Well, I guess we were already there. I'm gonna go into a different context in Cinema 4D. This is the animation context. And what I wanna do is just create a very simple animation that I can run a brief test on. Keywords here, brief and simple. Because before I ever wanna commit to a really pretty animation, I wanted just to see, is my rig even gonna work in AR? I need to know that. So for this animation, I'm just gonna rotate like legs and stuff. So here we go. I'm gonna set auto keyframe and I'm gonna set some values up for our legs. So I'm gonna grab my leg joints, go to their coordinates and set keyframes for their rotations. There we go. And then I'm gonna go to the future, 15 frames in, and we're gonna create our first movement. I'm gonna rotate this leg to the left. I'm gonna rotate this leg to the left as well. Let's make sure those are animated. Yep, we got that to that, that to that. And then I'm gonna send them back to position. So it's just a boom, and then we'll hold that position, so boom, boom. And then we'll go to the arms, do a quick little animation on the arm rotation. we'll set a value rotation around the arms here, and I'll set a value rotation on the arms here, and then we'll go forward into the future. I'll map the same key on both arm rotations. Then we go halfway into around frame 57. This is where we'll rotate our arm down. And I'm also going to rotate it forward. Maybe I'll just do rotate down, just keep it simple, really simple and quick. And then let's just do a hold keyframe on there, so it holds and then it goes back up. So what I'm doing right now, this is called a rigging test. You want to put your model into like into its most extreme positions on just a few random keyframes. And the goal is you're oddly trying to break the rig. You're trying to see what didn't you give enough love and attention to that is now no longer going to work. Breaking your rig is important. Or at least, sorry, trying to break the rig is important because you want to know what are the limitations of your creation. Maybe you can do more with it than you think, or maybe you can't. And it all comes down to your rigging test and just seeing for yourself how it can manage with different extreme positions. So I like to just do I'm mostly going to be animating the arms and the legs on this character. And I just want to make sure that this animation even can be exported out and work in AR before I spend any time. Because imagine how much time would have been wasted if I spent if I finished rigging it and then I went right into animation without testing. It would be a sad day because it'd be a really sad day. Also, I'm deciding I'm going to delete a certain bit of geometry. I'm going to eliminate that ball. The ball, I thought was going to be a good idea to rotate around it, but it's adding, I already see it, it's adding too much complexity, so I'm just going to remove the ball point. Let's get rid of that. And then go back into animation. Just to hide the flaws. The arms will just be kind of floating. Okay, so cool. We have some really random animation. And you got that to that, that to that to that. And I'll just make sure that the start position is the same as the end position so we get a nice seamless loop. And then for fun, I'm gonna add some motion curves to all of the keyframes. Motion curves are fun. Oh, actually, no, don't do that. I take it back. I'm gonna leave those out of here. It's a robot. Yeah, this is like testing a car, testing if the wheels of your car spin before you start building your engine. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to save this project and I'm gonna export it in a very specific format that I highly recommend for testing in AR. It's called GLTF. I'm gonna go to export and export this as a GLTF or a .glb. And we're gonna save it. All the types of data that you wanna save out of it are these. We have animation data in the point level attributes. We wanna bake the animation. We want the baked skin. I want my materials and I want them double-sided so that we can see both sides are painted. I might not need flipped Z. This is if you're gonna bring it into Unreal Engine or Unity. If you're not, you don't need to have that checked. And then I'm just gonna test this out here in my little folder here. Wait, where is it? Oh, 2021, AR concept, robot mech. And I'm gonna make a new folder, call this animation test, or just anim. And then I'll call this anim1. Cool, so we just exported a GLTF format. Oh, what's the difference in exports? The difference with GLTF is that it works so well in AR and it can be converted into USDZ, it can be converted into GLB, which makes it a really friendly place to make an asset that you want to take to different like avenues. It works well to bring in a Spark AR. It works really well if you bring that into Lens Studio. It works really well if you bring that into Reality Composer. It's a very friendly format that I like to suggest using. And then the place that I actually test the AR is a web browser actually called Babylon.js. It has this cool little bee logo. And all I do is I drag my model, I drag my GLTF model right into there. And if it plays, you're in luck. Now we're also seeing some other weird stuff happening. So you see how everything's tinted pink and I guess purple? I know exactly what's causing that. And that's the kind of thing like I want to fix now before animating further. So the fix for that is in the materials parameters here. If they let us get to the material parameter, I had troubles getting to it earlier. Oh yeah, it's not letting me touch materials. Weird. It's like they're locked, like you were saying. I don't know what locked it. Huh. I can override that data inside of USDZ. What I mostly care about in Babylon here is just the motion. So it looks like the motion is working. It's registering. Can you do all of this in Blender? Yes. It's harder to do all these steps though in Blender. Blender is awesome, but the learning curve is a little bit steeper than Cinema 4D. What is the best advice / way to find out what's the best suited to my mapping system from Logic? I don't think I understand your question. Just depends on the case, but it really is amazing how people can texture and animate things procedurally through just code. It blows my mind. What's the best advice / way to find out what's the best suited to my mapping system from Logic? Yeah, I don't think I'm understanding the question. Okay, well, this is gonna work in principle, and not even just in principle, it'll work, but I'll be honest, I am getting a little tired of working on this. Kind of been working on this all day, and I just realized I have something due tomorrow that I didn't work on right now. Oh, but it'll be fun. It uses the same techniques that we practiced today, but it's for a paid client. I need to work on that ASAP. And that's all. But the end result is gonna have this quality of textures, but it'll just be animated. And we'll be able to do this in Reality Converter, and then we'll publish it in Reality Composer, and then it'll be a USDZ file format that we could place anywhere in the world, and it will have that ability to be really cool. But that's it. Thank you all so much for your time and tuning in and taking a look at this little creation process. Hopefully you learned a lot and are motivated to start, building your own characters. You got to see some of the under the hood bits, some of the hard stuff. When it comes to like UV mapping and rigging, those things usually scare off people. So if you're still here, I would like you to pat yourself on the back. You endured a very intense lesson in 3D workflows. And I feel confident in saying if you've sat through this, you could, if you don't already know it, you could definitely learn what I showed you because you're still here. You know what I mean? It's the folks that see it for a split second and then dip because they're like, no, that's way too scary. I'm never learning that. They're not gonna learn it. But the ones who stick around and then, are still interested, they can. Things to look up on Google for you that can help is look up rigging, R-I-G-G-I-N-G for those that with different languages, and I have a weird accent. Rigging is a good one to look up. Another one is weight painting, W-E-I-G-H-T-P-A-I-N-T-I-N-G, weight painting. And then another one is UVs. But all this stuff is pretty much like a very full-end, crazy pipeline of work. And usually it's like a whole studio worth of work. But when I was at DreamWorks, I taught everyone
I taught from every different department. So I learned all these workflows from all of those different departments. And now it just works really well to do it, you know, combine it all together in XR. But anywho, I'm gonna go. And I just want to thank you all for being here. We are here for it, bro. AR versus the world. Let's go. Yes. All right. So, hey, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you're going to make something cool, please let me know. And it helps me if you share these live streams on Twitter or like with other learning communities, creative communities that are trying to learn this stuff. I want to democratize the space of XR so that it's accessible. It's such a huge economy and such a huge opportunity for education and also making things accessible. And I think that's only going to happen if people like us open the knowledge up and take the walls off of this information, take off the paywalls and the exclusive access, and open source this stuff. So, anywho, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you all in the next one. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna watch some anime. I just started watching a new anime called Dragon Quest, I think. I watched the first episode. It was pretty sweet. The character is designed just like Goku, but he has a sword and he's younger. I think it's a newer anime. I'm gonna continue to tune into that. I'm also gonna be playing some Fortnite tonight on creative mode. The place where I'm the meanest in real life is not in real life. It's on video games. I'm very kind in real life, but the persona I am when I'm playing games is not even close to who I am in person like this. It's a problem. It's kind of like my escape. I troll people on video games. I'm confessing it for the first time on a live stream right now. I troll people on Fortnite. And I think I have a lot of fun out of it, and it's childish, but it feels right. It's where I get those out of my system, and it's fun. I try to get people mad, but not to the point of like harassment. Rather, like play with a certain spammy weapon or tool that is so annoying that they quit. That's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna drink water and do that for entertainment. It's sick, but it's how I justify, you know, giving away free knowledge and open access and fun in real life. But then in the virtual world, like I know I have a friend here, Kevin. He wanted to add me as a friend in VR to play games together, and I was like conflicted because I'm really good friends with him in real life. I'm like, I don't know if he wants to see me when I'm gaming. I'm not the same person. my persona on gaming is mean. I love traps. I make traps in games, trap other characters, and it's awful. So I'm gonna go do that, drink some water, and I'm in a new house, by the way. I moved out of my place. Keenan and I bought our own place. We have a house now. Look at this. I'm in my new office. This is the new house. We're still working, we're still moving stuff in, so I don't want to show the rest, but now we have a whole space, and I'm really excited for that. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. Everywhere Vlogs, Aditya and Maserati Mo, thank you, and Creations by Demand, thank you. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. Can you post this live on YouTube? Congratulations on the new crib. Oh, thanks. Sure, I'll post this on... Oh yeah, because I can download it. Okay, I'll download it right now. Thanks for reminding me. All right, bye-bye.